Pop Culture Pastor.
So, Cody, I have a deep thought I want to talk about. You ready? You ready for this?
Okay.
I was on Twitter the other day, and I saw someone say something on Twitter. And this is a normal reaction, by the way. Someone on Twitter said something so outrageous. And it's usually in a righteous sort of way, where they say something about another group of people that they're clearly opposed to. And you know what I'm saying? It was one of those type of things. And I just thought, I started thinking, sometimes I do this, I think really like logically about something. And I think, why does one even make a statement like that? Imagine something so outlandish. So imagine like Alex Jones, okay? That's a guy who everybody knows would just get on whatever broadcast he was doing. I don't know if it was internet or podcast. I don't even know what he was doing. But he'd say outlandish things.
He would.
And then like the medium encourages. So if you get followers, the medium almost encourages you to continue to say outlandish things.
It very much does, or it reinforces it.
And so I thought about something.
Okay.
I thought, what if someone looked at Alex Jones, what he did, and thought, here's a dude who's just saying stuff and getting people all riled up. And he's not even saying things that need to be true, because most of it was probably false. But what if they looked at him and they thought, we could do that for our own gain, and we wouldn't even have to make a real person. It's just a fake person.
Okay.
Like, you get a following, you establish a following, and then you have like this fake persona. Like, for instance, theoretically, what if Ann Coulter wasn't real? What if Alyssa Milano or Rex Chapman wasn't real? Like, Rex Chapman, his Twitter account starts off as like, I'm just sharing funny videos.
And dogs.
Yeah. And then as soon as COVID hits, he's like 100% political. But now he's got all these followers. And often it's political in a way that's like not well informed. Nothing against Rex. Should he be real?
I mean, it's more of a surface level of political commentary that he's not going to be going deep into whatever the issue is.
Right. That's what I mean. I don't mean any disrespect towards Rex if he's real or if he's not real, a real person. But I'm saying that like it never goes deeper than what the other stuff you'll see on social media, right? He's not doing like, he's not an expert in whatever field.
He is an expert in basketball. I'll give him that. If you play in the league...
That's debatable.
If you play in the league, I'll give you credentials.
No, he was a good player. He was good.
So, I mean, we kind of had that with Stephen Colbert.
That he wasn't real.
That's not who he really is as a person.
Yeah.
And technically, his last name's Colbert.
That checks out. That makes total sense. It was okay. Well, it's interesting because the Daily Show guys, the guys that started off in the Daily Show, that's what it was. I'm pretending to be something, but it's really a joke. Mm-hmm. Like I'm delivering real information sometimes, but the joke is that I'm not really a newscaster. I'm playing it for laughs, and then he's kind of gone on and really perfected that persona for his game.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Not that it's a bad thing. Good for him. He's good at it. He's funny. But that's a good point. The Stephen Colbert that you see on TV is not a real person. It's a persona. And this is kind of what I'm getting at. When he decides to be serious, then why should I take him seriously if it's a persona? Because he does try to get serious.
Oh, yeah. And especially since he's gone his own night show, he's gone that route of trying to be more serious and not just political satire humor.
Yeah, but he's still Stephen Colbert.
He is.
So let's just say Alyssa Milano is not a real person, at least the Twitter account.
Okay.
Let's say Alyssa Milano, after Who's the Boss, tired of fame, and said, I'm moving off the grid, never to be heard from again. And someone capitalized that and made a Twitter account that's highly political. And you could, like, if this offends you, then we can say James Woods.
Jimmy Woods.
We can pick a different celebrity on the other side of the political spectrum if that offends you. But Alyssa Milano, James Woods, let's pretend like they went and lived off the grid and then someone capitalized that because they knew, like, look, when you're a celebrity, you're going to get tons of followers. I guess I'm saying is we assume that celebrity comes first and then the self-importance of people need to hear my thoughts on the world comes second. But what if out there in this day and age we know that there's Russian propaganda on social media? What if we are being propagandized from within? What if someone's just like, not real?
So you're saying they are catfishing us?
In a way, yeah. Is that possible? Do you think that's possible?
With a big enough name of a celebrity, I don't think it is. You'd have to go like obscure, like really obscure celebrity. And then maybe someone from Real World season 7 that like didn't
not Puck.
Wasn't the star of that season. Had to be like maybe the fourth person you thought of. Maybe
someone from Road Rules.
Yes,
any season of Road Rules.
Maybe you could take their likeness, take their name, create an account, get some following, and then post enough stuff that will get you likes. Go the Rex Chapman route. You start off with basic, doing dogs and sports, and then boom.
Yeah.
You can then sweep the masses.
They have to be a big enough celebrity to be taken seriously, though, because I think the problem is if someone from Road Rules starts talking politically on Twitter, nobody cares.
I don't know. The Miz was on one of those shows.
The Miz from wrestling?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's awesome.
So see if you can portray yourself as being awesome. Because like Rex Chapman wasn't an MVP candidate.
No. He was a great player in college at Kentucky. And yeah, I mean he was kind of a journeyman player, but he was always a worthy part of a team.
Yes.
Like he may have come off the bench, but he was still good.
He wasn't Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
No.
But he was at least a name you would recognize. And so maybe Snooki. But Snooki's all over social media, allegedly, as is. So you'd have to go with someone that's been a hermit for a while.
No offense to Snooki. The minute she tries to get serious, nobody's going to care. Like, does anyone really care? I mean, Snooki could get serious about what she thinks the best, whether she thinks Chick-fil-A or Popeye's chicken sandwich is better. And people would be like, stop it. We don't care what you think about chicken sandwiches, because it's Snooki.
I care.
You care? Oh, well, that's honorable of you. I care too. Snooki, I love you, Snooki. Nothing wrong with Snooki. I mean, as a human being. Well, the reason I bring this up, Cody, is because we talk a lot about news and how misleading the news or journalism can be in this country now. It just seems like, okay, that's complex. I started thinking about all of these social media accounts that we're so easily and heavily swayed by and how easy it would be to actually fool people because we don't see these people. Like, even though we know who James Woods is, or Alyssa Milano, or all these celebrities that speak out, Rex Chapman, Stephen Colbert, like, we don't really see them. We don't see them tweeted out. Like, a lot of these people probably, how many celebrities do you think just have someone that tweets for them?
Oh, there's definitely, if you are a big enough celebrity, you definitely have a PR team that is controlling all your socials.
Yeah. In fact, it's the people that aren't political. Those are the ones that probably have professional PR people.
So there's times that LeBron James will tweet that I'm thinking, this isn't you, LeBron. But then there are times where I'm like, oh, he definitely said this. Now, whether he actually typed it out or the person next to him did, that's a whole nother thing. But he said it. So it's kind of like with the Gospels, if you will. Jesus said these words, and there were people there to record it much later, but he didn't actually write it out.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that could be, I mean, there's probably guys in LeBron's crew that could do that for him for sure. We will cast aside people once we get big.
I'm offended. / You're the first to go, buddy. Once we get Joe Rogan level listenership.
Cody's going to drop me like a bad habit. But, it wouldn't surprise me if LeBron has like a guy he's known for years who does like, who isn't just like someone he that works for him, someone that's like, has a relationship with him, a friend who actually does his social media for him. Like I could totally see that because a lot of those, especially in the NBA, they're just working a different system than most celebrities are because they do, for whatever reason, they'll bring their people with them, and they call in hip hop circles you'll hear that as being staying true to the hood.
Like if LeBron needs a pastor / interning therapist as part of his crew. Yeah, I'm here for you, LeBron.
Works out good for LeBron. Yeah, maybe not for a guy like Allen Iverson, who got into kind of a lot of mix-ups and stuff. But it's certainly more admirable to be loyal to one's friends. But yeah, it's just interesting. Yeah, the dynamic of celebrity social media and what we think we can trust and believe in it. When, maybe it's not even them doing the tweeting or the posting half the time. I don't know. This is all interesting stuff to think about. Cody, did you know today is National Read a Book Day?
I did not know that, but it would have been helpful if they had promoted that holiday when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because I have this class project that I have to do an analysis over a book character.
Mm-hmm.
I asked my wife for suggestions of which characters to do. And so she just starts listing off a bunch of books. And I'm like, nope, haven't seen that. Never heard of that.
Haven't seen it. I haven't seen the movie based on that book. Sorry, I can't do that one.
I watched the movie based on that one, and I just keep going off on a tangent about nope, haven't read it, nope, haven't seen it, nope.
So what you're saying is you're not really a book reader.
I have read some books, but compared to my wife, it was atrociously small amounts of books.
Look, I can remember in high school, you assigned me to read Of Mice and Men, and I'm watching the movie. I'm not reading that book.
I will say the movie did a good job, almost verbatim, line by line, of what the characters say in the book. So
yeah, it served me pretty well, that one.
Yeah, that was a good book / great movie. Give me more John Malkovich and Gary Sinise.
But some of them, they're not doing the trick. Like apparently, you couldn't watch Demi Moore's The Scarlet Letter and need to take a test on Nathaniel Hawthorne's Scarlet Letter. That didn't work out too well. I have an affinity for reading, but I notice it's like I'm very select in what I want to read, and I actually enjoy nonfiction.
That was my issue because I've read a ton of biographies, I've read a ton of nonfiction works, but not the fiction. I'm limited.
Yeah, and that seems to be my problem as well. Cody, what would you say is your favorite nonfiction book you've ever read? While we're talking about it, because I was going to ask you about fiction, but let's do nonfiction first for this holiday. What is National Read a Book Day?
National Read a Book
Which,
Day.
first of all, are there people that read a book in a day?
Oh yeah, no, my wife has read big, legit chapter books in a day.
God bless them. I'm too ADD for that. I can't do that.
And sometimes I want to say she's read a couple books in an evening of just getting off work and then being like, you know what, I'm going to read. And then boom.
She just reads the whole thing. That's amazing. Good for her. I do envy people like that.
I don't know how she does it. / I get too distracted by video games.
I get too distracted by my phone. Okay, so what's your favorite nonfiction book you've ever read?
I mean, as a pastor, I have to go with the Bible.
Come on, not
But-
normal rules apply. You can't. The answer can't be the Bible. Any other book.
The Bible.
Obviously, we've committed our lives to ministry, and thus we love reading the Bible. That's the answer to the desert island question, right? You're stranded on a desert island. What one book? You can keep one book with you. Of course, our book's going to be the Bible. But in this, pretend that I'm asking the question, it can't be the Bible. What book are you taking? Nonfiction.
So I mean, there were several Craig Rochelle books that I really enjoyed. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm getting into the pastoral side of me.
No, that's okay.
But,
that counts.
So Divine Direction I thought was really good, and Hope in the Dark by Craig Rochelle were really good.
I would bring up a book that's sort of ministry related. I would say Love Does by Bob Goff.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that book.
There is a documentary about Oswald Chambers, the guy that wrote My Utmost for His Highest, that devotion. There's a good documentary about his life. And
yeah, you're getting back into TV stuff again. That documentary is moving pictures.
Yeah, well, a nonfiction biography. There you go.
Okay.
I do prefer the TV. So
my favorite nonfiction book of all time would be a biography. It's called The United States of America versus Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali's Greatest Fight.
I feel they made a documentary about that.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they did. There's probably been several, but this specifically focuses on the civil rights movement and the case of Muhammad Ali not wanting to go to Vietnam and everything entailed in that. And it's just so good. It really takes a deep dive into like how that mingled with the civil rights movement, how Muhammad Ali, that wasn't really his intent. He just really was trying to adhere to what his religious beliefs at the time were, which is that he was a pacifist, which sounds weird because he got paid to beat people up.
Passing a fist.
But he obviously drew a line on taking life. And felt very seriously about it. And that was his whole intent was, I'm not going to cross that line. But the civil rights movement, it sort of engulfed him, and he became a very important figure in it.
He did.
And so it's just a great book, and it accounts all that really well without, I like nonfiction books, especially historical, just like kind of report to me what's going on in the context. I don't really want it to lean a certain way. Like the book doesn't go out of its way to make the government look bad or to make him look good.
So does it talk about his relationship with Malcolm?
Oh yeah. It's all in there. And there's a lot of like eyewitness, people that were close to him giving information, like Harry Belafonte, which wasn't knowledgeable enough to know that he was a big guy in the civil rights movement, but they get him to say a lot of things in this book. Anyways, it's just a good book. You should look it up.
Also another one that I enjoyed was Jim Morrison, Life, Death, Legend. It was a good biography.
The Doors.
Yes.
Yeah. It's probably sad though, isn't it?
It ends with death.
Yeah. Doesn't it always? So this is probably an easier question. What's your favorite fiction book or books you've ever read?
Okay, so I'm going to have to ask a question because Leah, when we were going through this, finding a fictional character to do a case study on, I asked her if she thought I could do graphic novels. Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, Cody, those aren't real books.
How dare her?
That cut deep.
It did.
Too deep to be.
I read The Watchmen at KU.
Exactly.
Yeah. She's not living in the now.
She isn't. So I will say the book series that got me into reading more.
Left Behind.
No. It was Harry Potter. The complete opposite direction. So,
I think a lot of people. So my oldest daughter loves to read. She'll just sit down and read books, and she started with Harry Potter, and I'll be forever thankful for that because it's not like I think she likes Harry Potter and she's reread the whole series. I think, but it's not like she's a super fan. She isn't like there's not Harry Potter stuff all over her room or anything.
Yeah, I enjoy Harry Potter, but I'm not going out of my way for Harry Potter.
Right. And so I really appreciate that story in really implanting this love for reading in my daughter. I'll be thankful and grateful for that. So yeah, and I've heard that from a lot of people.
So by the time they start making the movies, I have read the first 5 books. Mm-hmm. So then I'm not like, well, I'm going to wait it out.
Yeah, and it's this generation's it's their version of what I'm about to say. So I'm in 9th grade, and I'm not much of a book reader. I'm a comic book reader. I grew up collecting comics, and comics were my escape. Because reality often was disappointing, and
spoilers.
And so I loved Marvel comics in particular, and I just read. And then in 9th grade, I had to. You can go a while without actually reading a book. Even there are ways, by watching movies or stuff. And I'd read a couple books in middle school. We read Animal Farm by George Orwell, which I liked. I dug that. I'd read Watership Down. I don't know why all my books I read had animals acting, like talking and stuff like that, but maybe that was just stuff I liked. And then in 9th grade, I walk in the library. I get to pick my own book, and I was like, okay, I don't know anything. I don't know that much about books. What do you think a guy like I love comic books, librarian, I'm in your hands, give me a book. And she puts into my hands The Fellowship of the Ring.
That was the second book series I've read.
And from the moment I cracked that book open, I was just gone. I was in that world. I have never read books so fast that I did the Lord of the Rings series. And I think I cried when it was over. And then I found out there was The Hobbit, which I could read, the prequel, right?
Yeah.
But man, I was totally, those books, I was totally just like escaped into that world.
And now you can watch The Ring of Power.
I am. And we'll talk about that someday on the podcast, I think, maybe, because I've liked it. It's again, when it's about the escape into this world, I've just enjoyed the visuals. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're taping that series in New Zealand, like where Peter Jackson filmed, but it looks and feels like Middle Earth, and I've just enjoyed every second of it.
Yeah, I loved the Lord of the Rings series. That was a great one to read.
And now it works. And now that I'm a pastor, it means even more to me because I can go back and reread and I can see Tolkien's faith playing out through the story. It's much more subtle than his friend C.S. Lewis's Narnia books.
Yes.
Which are kind of right out there. But it's more subtle in The Lord of the Rings, but still very relevant and good.
The Screw Tape Letters. That was a good one by C.S.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I also enjoyed a book I read recently that I'm going to classify as a real book. And the book I chose for my project, it's a Stephen King book called Revival. Mm-hmm. It's about a minister.
I'm betting he's not on the up and up.
No.
Stephen King. Is he bad?
Well, he starts off good. Tragedy strikes, his wife and kid pass away.
Oh,
and
this sounds like a downer.
Then so it really technically follows this family that goes to the church that the pastor's at, but the pastor plays a role throughout this guy's life from being a little kid up through like 50s and 60s. Mm-hmm. It's interesting.
Yeah. You know what's weird is another one of my favorite books, like probably my second favorite fiction book, would be a Stephen King book. And people think of Stephen King, they think of like hardcore horror. But my second favorite fiction book is his book, and it's one called The Stand, which is actually about a pandemic and about the forces of good and evil. And it's about as close to religious as you'll see Stephen get.
Yeah. And I'll say that it might be a more accurate depiction of Revelation than Left Behind.
Yeah.
I'll say it. I'm naming it and claiming it.
Don't watch the TV made from that. Just read the book.
I evidently need to read.
Yeah, you need to read The Stand. So good. Cody, as our resident Bible expert, I got a question. You seem uncomfortable with that title.
I was looking around the room to see if you were talking to a different Cody.
No. You've got more expertise than me.
I doubt that, but we'll keep going with it.
You went to school, so I took classes, but not like school. Anyways, that's not important. Does it say anything about bees in Revelation? Specifically, maybe bees disappearing, or any animals for that matter.
I don't recall bees being mentioned in the book of Revelation, but I could be wrong.
A study published Friday in the journal Cell Press reported that 25% of known bee species have disappeared from public record since the 1990s. That's somewhat concerning.
It is a little bit concerning, but my friend Marky Mark had warned us about this at the very beginning of the happening.
No, yeah.
If only people had paid attention.
Yeah. But bees get a lot of hate because we've seen My Girl. Right? So we're like, kill the bees. And now we're like, no, wait. We shouldn't have killed the bees.
I am not like a huge My Girl fan. I prefer the Bee Movie, which promotes keeping bees safe.
Now I imagine all bees have the voice of Jerry Seinfeld.
Exactly.
But this is, it's sort of serious. They serve a vital purpose in the ecosystem. They pollinate everything from household flowers to essential crops.
I blame the wasp.
What did the wasp do?
They do attack bees.
Do they?
And
they don't do any of the stuff that bees do, but they do all the bad stuff.
They do.
They sting.
They're the worst.
They are the worst. Make little mud huts in the corners of my roof.
And then someone has to kill them. That someone's me.
This reminds me of I did a video, I posted a video online some years ago. I don't even know. This was way before like TikTok and stuff. Although now it'd be amazing. But these wasps had made this giant wasp mud thing on my back porch, my back deck. We had a back deck and we hadn't been out there in a while. And so I went out there and just got one of those long distance sprayers with the wasp spray, so you don't have to get super close. And I videoed it. I felt bad. It was like a wasp genocide.
I would not have felt bad at all.
It was weird. I did. It was weird how bad I felt. I was like, oh no. I could have just left him alone.
Nope.
No?
They are a menace to society.
I think we got it all wrong in My Girl. I think it was probably wasps that killed Macaulay Culkin.
It probably was.
Yeah.
He needs his glasses.
He needs his glasses. He hurts. Why? So researchers apparently combed through bee data. That is the secondary to A data. That was a dad joke.
Noise.
No, B-E-E, bee data recorded by the Global Biodiversity Information Facility, which sounds like a front for a James Bond villain.
I'm pretty sure it is.
It includes everything from museum specimens to smartphone photos shared by amateur naturalists, which also seems creepy.
It does.
Like they're combing through our amateur photos on our phones to do bee studies. Anyways, they figured us out that apparently that seems like a lot of data to come up with any real number. I wonder what, most studies have a plus minus of a certain percentage.
Yeah.
Of how much they could be off. I wonder how much it is for this study. They probably gave that in the actual study, but it's not going to be in this article I'm reading.
35% is my guess.
Turns out the bee population's gone down 25%, but we could be off by 30%. So maybe there's more bees. We don't know.
No one can know.
No, who can know? We can. Actually, we come through all your photos. We also know what you've been doing with your leisure time. Says the guy running the global thermonuclear bee study plant, petting his cat. You're here to die, Mr. Bond.
Have you seen the video of the beekeeper that kills wasp in midair with scissors?
No.
He just cuts them out of the sky.
What? He's like Mr. Miyagi.
Pretty
except
much.
without the peacefulness part. Karate is only for defense. Scissors are only for cutting paper. That's
and
amazing.
Wasp.
That's crazy. No, you'll have to text that to me or message it to me so I can find it. Don't do it now. We're talking right now.
I'm not doing it.
All right. So anyways, this team formulated a hypothesis that there really has been a global decline in bees. If there really has been a global decline in bees, then we would see a drop in the total number of bee species being recorded in the scientific database. And they feel like they confirmed that there was indeed a drop in the number of bee species recordings in every continent. And these results suggest that the number of species among bee specimens collected worldwide is showing a sharp decline. Quote from a leader of the study: with citizen science and the ability to share data, records are going up exponentially, but the number of species reported in these records is going down. So they say they have more data, but less bees.
I want to know how they can tell bees apart. Because what if the data is like showing the same bee over and over again, and then it's actually there's even less bees than we think there are?
Yeah. Well, that's scary. Bees are the most important group of pollinators on Earth, contributing to the pollination of 85% of all cultivated crops.
That's not a good sign.
So as a result, they're saying that this decline in bee species spells trouble for the planet and the survival of people. Now, I tend to think that all these studies tend to go to the most extreme conclusion.
I tend to think that myself, but with
we
bees,
literally make like plant meat in a lab.
Oh, that's gross.
And they don't have bees in there.
But with bees, I tend to believe they are the most crucial part of the ecosystem. And without it, we are lost. We can do without cats. We can do without wasps. We might be able to do without egrets. I don't know. But bees, no. Foundational piece.
Well, can I make a request? Because, we need all the bees just somewhere else. Keep them away from me. We have some allergies in my family. My grandma was really allergic to bees, and I don't want to find out if I am.
I mean, I don't know if I'm allergic or not, but I treat them with respect.
I've been stung by a wasp, but never been stung by a bee. So, and I don't want to find out. So, bees, I'm rooting for you, but just I'm rooting for you over there. Stay over there.
Be at my house.
Do your thing. Hey everybody, Dave here. Thank you so much for listening to our Radio Leftovers podcast. All these clips come from a radio show we do on KFEX 93.1 Firescape Radio. It's a little Christian FM radio station, part of a youth ministry in Chanute, Kansas. If you'd like to listen to the radio show, if you're interested in that sort of thing, you can tune in at www.kfex931.com. Or you can download the KFEX app from your phone's app store. You can check that out there. As always, we invite you to listen to the podcast, the big podcast as well. If you like what you hear, the way it really would help us out is if you subscribe to the podcast, you rate and review the podcast. That would also help us out. Write us a little review, butter us up a little bit. You know how it goes. And then, of course, share the podcast on your own social media while you follow us on social media as well. Thank you so much for listening. We love you guys so much, and we'll see you on Friday.